It's 9 o'clock. Good morning. I'd like to call the Surgeon Water Board Finance and Administration Committee to order. Special counsel, please call the roll, if you would.
Director Sloss.
I'm here.
Director Howard. Director Guzman.
Here.
Director Markowitz. Director Pacho.
Here.
Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We have got discussion items. First thing is Mr. Lewis, our CFO, financial summary update and change order impacts.
Thank you, Chairman. Good to be here with everybody. Hope y'all had a good holiday weekend. So just want to give you a brief update and share some news. We happy to say our new controller, Susanna Kirby, is actually here. Started a couple weeks ago, so I'll be introducing you to her. Really appreciate the additional help working on diving into billing, both back-end, front-end and back-end processes on billing and reviewing processes with myself and Renee. So right now, we're going to talk about April, but we're really focusing, we're into May now, obviously closing May, and then our fiscal 22 audit is wrapping up and got the draft and scheduled to complete the end of this week. So that's going okay there.
Good.
Well, for April, our system revenues were $23.8 million, $24.9 million on the drainage taxes. Expenses were $21.9, trailing the budget number. The May collections were actually up. If we go to the next page,
They were good.
$24.65 million. So that was the highest monthly collections we've had this year, which was good because April was low at $19.7 million. And then on the dashboard on the next slide, I just wanted to highlight the line 9, days cash on hand, 181 for water, 265 for sewer. So no concerns with any of our covenants. We'll go to the next page. Debt obligations, was no major changes in financing. We continue to spend down bond proceeds on the programs, the regular programs. Our next slide has our capital disbursements for the month. It was $8 million spent in the month of April for all three systems. We appropriated another $23.8 million during the month. So we continue to progress with that. And then on the grant status, it was just about a smaller amount this month, about $1.5 million received primarily for the JIRR project worksheets. On the next slide is our newer slide that just wanted to highlight a couple numbers. Ron's going to be presenting change order information, but for particularly line 8, the contract 1376 is about a change order 3 of $1.1 million. This is the Panola pumping station, and this is a strategic upgrade to those older pumps. So we understand that is going to reallocate some of our pay-go cash financing that would be available, but this is an important change order and strategic in our view. And then the other one I wanted to highlight is this line 12, which is our paving contract, which we've been working very closely with Steve Nelson, the team. But a couple weeks ago, we met with the Infrastructure Advisory Board and explained to them the significant backlog that we've been working to address this year. Mm-hmm. And through this particular contract, we've gotten a lot of work accomplished and added more work because of the pace that they've been able to keep up with and getting more work orders done. So with additional $4 million that the IAB provided us in funding for this year, we're able to dedicate additional funds to this contract and not have any impacts on our pay-go cash financing.
And the network replacements that's water feed lines, what we're talking about there?
Paving.
Networks would be the paving
Yes,
repairs
sir.
that have been done.
Why is that called network?
Well, it's part of the network system, the sewer collection, water distribution, the drainage system. So it's collectively the network system.
And that's a stupid question, but
Yes.
Yeah. The other change orders this month are more routine, nothing real significant. So we'll continue to monitor those and look at how our current year's spending plan would be impacted, and then also anything in the longer term 10-year plan. Go to the next slide, I think I just want to highlight a couple things on the customer service statistics. We had over 18,000 calls received, an average wait time of 3 minutes and 2 seconds in the month of April. And then our charts, next couple slides, if we could skip over to page 10. Yeah, and this one I wanted to just highlight in the bottom slide, the last 2 months of April, March and April show a little more consistency in terms of the total bills issued. We continue to focus on the alternative meter reading strategy and getting a consistency that's really been missing in terms of billing every month and having roughly 140,000 bills issued every month. And if you go to slide 12, or back 1 to 11, thanks. Our aged customer receivables are 62.2 million at the end of April, so this was up about 2%, 1.2 million, due to a lower amount of collections received in the month, and it's come down in May with the better collections we've seen, but continue to be a primary focus area. Accounts in dispute were flat, approximately 3,500, similar to last month. And then there in the middle, the bottom, we've included this recap of the query that we talked about last month. This was a listing of accounts that hadn't billed within or greater than 40 days they had not billed. So this is where we focus on diving into whatever issues are existing with those particular accounts in terms of front-end setup issues or consumption data that needs to be manually billed. So in this particular query, at May 3rd, it was 182 accounts, and then by June 9th, 142 of those had been billed, and there was additional 40 that were needing to be researched and manually billed. So this is a continuous process that we'll be doing and working to tighten the internal controls so that we can get the customer bills timely, and we'll be working closely with Cogsdale and our staff to not only ensure that the data is good, but we have a good process to monitor, because as we get over 40 days, obviously there's an issue, and 60 days, but the further closer we get to like a 90-day mark, we really should have dealt with the issue a while ago, but this is going to be a continuous process, and happy to answer any questions.
And we are operating after 90 days, we have to forgive the bill as per the city council mandate, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So
But again, happy to have additional help with Controller Susanna coming on, and we're just diving in and working through the issues. There's definitely plenty to keep us busy on the collections and billing side. So that concludes. That's all I was going to comment on for April. Happy to answer any other questions.
Great. Is there any significant reason for commercial accounts to be passed through the VI?
For which type of account?
Commercial.
In terms of them being aged, I guess I haven't seen a particular trend. Generally, customers, they may have more accounts and they ran into some issue with a high consumption bill, and then for whatever reason didn't deal with it, and now are going back. But it's really, I guess the distinction on the residential side, you just have one resident, one meter. Commercial might have 10, 12 more, depending on their particular infrastructure. But we end up sort of diving into whatever their issue was that got them behind and trying to address that.
it's a big chunk of money.
You mentioned for cash collections that the previous month was a good month. Do you know what trends or what happened that made it effective?
It's hard to say exactly, speculate, but typically if the month prior to had a high amount of billed revenue, then the following month should be pretty consistent. If the previous month was low, the following month is gonna be low, because it's about 30 days lag. But as far as consumer pattern in the month of May, or seasonality, it's really hard to predict. I mean, we see a little bit of potential recurring trend at the beginning of the year after the holidays, but nothing in particular with May that stands out to me.
Okay, so it's a consumer trend, nothing that the utility did to push it.
Right, because we would be, doing our regular follow-up with customers, and that same pattern is every month, so nothing unique.
Okay.
Well, that's all I have in terms of formal comments, Chairman, if there.
Thank you. We have a discussion item right now, right?
We're ready for our action items, and now we
Action
have the
items.
preliminary approval for sewage system bonds, and we have our guest,
Right.
Jason Akers.
Thank you. Jason Akers with Foley and Udell, Co-Bond Counsel. The resolution before you actually has been amended, Gray. That should be for not exceeding $80 million instead of $75 million, and I'll explain the reason for the difference between the two in the context of the full explanation. But let me just ask, would it be proper to do an amendment to reflect okay, so we'll need to, when the time comes, we'll need to just ask for an amendment to the resolution to exceed, for not exceeding $80 million instead of 75. These are approval of sewage service revenue bonds. You have a number of these already outstanding. Gray mentioned it in his presentation. And these bonds will be issued on a parity with those outstanding bonds. These are reflecting 3 different commitments to make loans that the Sewage and Water Board has received from the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, LDEQ, which runs a revolving loan fund for purposes of funding public sewer projects. 2 of those commitments, the DEQ project commitments are project specific. 2 of the commitments are for consent decree projects, and 1 is for the automated metering project. And so the reason that we've increased the principal amount from 75 to 80 million is because the metering project commitment was received just last week. So from the time that we submitted the first resolution for the agenda, we then got an additional $5 million commitment from DEQ, or you got an additional $5 million commitment from DEQ. And so since we have to go through the entire approval processes, we just decided it would be better just go ahead and include that with this resolution as well. Approval processes from here with your approval, of course, it goes to your board tomorrow. This is the preliminary approval. It also asks for the City Council and Board of Liquidation and State Bond Commission to all approve. Our anticipation is that this would be at the City Council committee meeting, but it's a joint Public Works Budget Committee meeting on June 28th, and then go to the council on June 13th. It would go to the board. I'm sorry, July 13th. June 28th council. June 28th committee meeting, council on July 13th. My apologies. Then Board of Liquidation meeting in July. We'll be making State Bond Commission application immediately following that for August approval. And then there's a separate process for DEQ than our normal traditional bond issues because DEQ has an engineering side that has to approve the closing package and the plans and specs and things of that nature. Doesn't have to actually go to bid, but they have to approve the plans and specs. So I refer to it as trains on parallel tracks heading to the same station, and eventually the finance side and the engineering side get to the same station, and that's when we're able to close. Subsequent to State Bond Commission approval, that process will be ongoing, and on the finance side, we'll come back to you for a final approval, and then City Council and Board of Liquidation as well. There's a chance that those final approvals will be in tranches because of the 3 different commitments, so just want to warn you now that although this is a preliminary approval of $80 million, it may be issuance of roughly 35, 35, and 5, or 35, 40, and 5, or something like that, just depending on what the plans and specs end up looking like.
The smart meter part of is 5?
That's $5 million, yes.
Yeah, and I just want to add, we'll also come back to the committee with the capacity analysis for each of these, because they are adding, this is all sewer system, but we'll have that before the next second approval.
Yeah, if you were to, let's just say you were to issue all of this at once, It's an additional significant lift. It's almost $4.5 million a year in additional debt service. But there's some factors that weigh into that that are very critical. One is that you're not going to issue it all at once because all the projects aren't going to be ready to go all at once. Secondly, the way the DEQ program works is that its funds are advanced only as needed, so you only incur interest as you draw
Right
down.
down, yeah.
So if you do a $35 million loan with them on the first tranche, well, you're going to ease into that $35 million burden, and then the other 35 or 40 million is going to be following right along with it, subsequently, and then the 5 as well. So that eases the burden on you as a system. During that time, as you're constructing the project and spending down the funds, you will have other bonds that are outstanding that will be paying off, and this will replace. The comparison, if you were to do this on a regular market basis, and borrow $80 million on a market basis instead of that $4.5 million, you're probably closer to $6 million in annual debt service. So this is a really, really good, really valuable program. You've taken advantage of it a number of other times, and I think it's a credit to administration for getting in line and getting those allocations from the program as well. So happy to answer any questions that you have.
We have a repeal at section 5. That's reversing that, is what that,
Sure, good question. We actually previously in the summer of '22, we actually did a preliminary approval for $35 million.
this just undoes that?
And this undoes that because we didn't want there to be any question that this was an approval of 115 million. We want to make sure this is just 80 million. The reason that we repealing that is because we got bond commission. I'm sorry. We got your board approval, city council approval, board of liquidation approval, but we never filed with the bond commission because we were waiting on the capacity analysis that Gray mentioned and some other things that were happening in summer of '22 that we decided it would be
There was
best
some
to
issue
hold off.
with the bond commission at that point in time, right?
There were a few things that were happening, and we decided it would be best not to poke a bear. So we decided to hold off. Subsequent to that time, we got two additional approvals, so we're wrapping it all into one resolution now.
Right. So we have a motion to approve resolution 082, 2023, approval of sewer system bonds.
As amended.
We need to
As
amend it.
amended. As amended.
As amended, I'm so sorry, to reflect 80 million instead of 75 million.
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? Any further discussion about it? No? Any public comment?
No public comment,
No
Chair.
public comment. All in favor, please so signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Keep getting us those good rates. Okay, that brings us to, we actually have to go through
So we have the,
authorization of amendment for the maintenance and support agreement between Sewage and Water Board and Cogsdale.
Kathy Smith,
Please.
Assistant Director of IT.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So Cogsdale provides our maintenance for our billing system and our payroll system, as you all know. This is an amendment, a resolution asking for the second and final approval for our annual bucket of hours for 1,500 hours. That's going to carry us from August. Oh, thank you. From August of this year to July of next year. That bucket of hours is used for project support, upgrades, anything that Cogsdale would be billing for us.
Okay, we're exercising an option for a second year.
Yes, second and final.
Is there any, well, first of all, may I have a motion to approve resolution 065-2023?
So move.
Second.
You're the only game in town. Is there any discussion on this? No, any public comment?
public comment, Chair.
All in favor, please so signify by saying aye. Aye. That passes. Thank you very much. We now have General Superintendent's recommendations.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. There are 10 total items in the GSO's report. The first subsection is contract awards and renewals. That is Resolution R059-2023. That's our contract 2165 Transmission Main Replacement Program. That's from South Claiborne Avenue That's on South Claiborne Avenue from Louisiana Avenue to 3rd Street, TM011. This is one of our ongoing projects associated with the JRR program, but for the transmission mains, we do design and administer the construction with the board staff itself due to the magnitude of the line itself. 5 bids were received on May 16, 2023. The lowest responsive and responsible bid was determined to be a Cycle Construction Company LLC at a total base bid of $11,139,453. And the General Superintendent's Office is requesting recommendation of the award of the bid to Cycle Construction Company.
Is there may I have a motion to approve contract award R059-2023 as described?
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on this? It's just, excuse me, but is this where there was a gigantic pipe on Claiborne Avenue for a while?
Yes, sir. This is that's a previous project that's currently in place, and that is what we call our manufacturer named Swedge Lining, where we're actually rehabilitating an existing 48-inch line with an HDPE pipe. So it's quote-unquote trenchless technology we're trying to do. This section here will not be trenchless technology because of the configuration. We'd have to do an open cut in the left lane in order to keep 2 lanes open per DOTD criteria. But yes, what this project is a continuation of rehabilitating that 100-year-old main, that 48-inch main on Claiborne Avenue, and would pretty much accomplish from 2-lane stadium all the way to 3rd Street once both projects are complete.
It's an off-the-wall question. Do you have any off-the-wall answer to how much water might be leaking out of that old main right now?
I don't. I don't have an exact amount.
No, I'm just curious if it's.
I would say our first pipe large transmission main rehab was on on Leonidas, Fig, Dupree, and Grape Street.
Right.
That's the 43-inch pipe. We switched line that about a year ago, and we've seen stabilization around the city, a significant stabilization in water pressure since we rehabbed that line. Part of it is that those old mains were leaking at the joints. The pipe is structurally sound. Just like the pipe on Claiborne is structurally sound, but it just leaks at the joint. So this is the ongoing improvement to our water infrastructure system.
So we're inserting this pipe into the existing pipe?
Yes, we're inserting a plastic pipe inside the existing and tying everything back together. We're doing some other improvements, new valves and all that. This contract is actually open cut a new ductile iron pipe because of where it's configured in the middle of the roadway. Part of DOTD's criteria is that we have to keep 2 lanes open.
Can't block it, got it.
Yes.
So the first section you see now is sort of in the right lane. We can do that trenchless technology. This one, we have to sort of shift over. But overall, it's the improvement of our infrastructure. And this is our water infrastructure system that we're continuing to do.
Well, this is great, and thanks for that.
Is there any timeline, or what's the timeline?
The timeline for the water main you see on Claiborne now, we plan to get that complete by 2nd or 3rd week in August and tying that water back in. So before we turn the water off on this section, we need to have that section done first.
Oh, it'd be hot in August. Well, is there any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor, please so signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
No opposition. I didn't ask for public comment, did I? Sorry.
No public comment.
Okay, sorry about that. The motion carries. I apologize about the public comment. Bringing us to a list of contract change orders, which we have 5, if you would, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the 5 change orders, and I'd like to take all 5 in global.
Yep.
So the first change order is Resolution R058-2023. That's ratification of change order number 1 for contract 2159, and that is our water point repair, water service connection, water valve, and fire hydrant replacement at various sites throughout Orleans Parish. So this is actually our ongoing O&M contract that's in our networks as
Right.
part of our network system. This change order is an amount of $285,000 over the 2-year value of the contract, and this contract was associated with an increase in certain bid items in the contract associated with 2159. So again, it's 13% of the overall contract, and the General Superintendent's Office is recommending approval of change order number 1. Second resolution is R066-2023. I'll spend a little time on. This is the authorization of change order number 3 for contract 1376. And this contract is associated with our water hammer hazard mitigation program, specifically the second contract we're doing with our high lift pump room and a Panola pumping station and high lift pumping station room. So this change order is specifically to add an electric motor to B pump. That's right. So B pump is steam. We have been having problems in the past with the B pump. Our operations staff, whenever it goes down, we do whatever we can, continuity of operations, to keep it repaired. But we feel this is an opportune time to execute this change order to incorporate an electric motor into B pump. The contractor is actually going to rebuild the pump as part of the original contract 1376. We would like to add this electric motor. The two things it does supply is there's efficiencies associated with this, because the same vendor who is rehabbing the motor, which is Siemens, is the same vendor, rehabbing the pump is the same vendor that's going to rehab the motor, number one. Number two, it minimizes the additional potential O&M issues with the steam pump. And then the third one is we have some savings by doing it now, because if we do it in the future, you don't have to demolding, you got to remolding, you have to remove the steam equipment and then put all the motor back in. So this is essentially the reason why we are asking for acceptance of this change order. This change order is in the amount of $1,998,525.08.
That's a quick question. Is that variable frequency, this thing?
It's going to be a soft start, but we have the ability to go to a VFD. The reason why we didn't go to a VFD, because we don't have enough funds to do the VFD for both. So the future.
We could retrofit that?
Yes, sir. That's the plan. And we do have the design plans in place to go to a VFD in the future when funds becomes available.
Great, thank you.
The third change order is Resolution R067, 2023, and that is ratification of change order number 13 for contract 1377, which is the Water Hammer Hazard Mitigation Program, still part of the Water Hammer Program, Claiborne Avenue Pumping Station, as well as the off-site improvement. So this is the second contract of the overall Water Hammer Program. And this contract is literally a deductive change order on this. What we're doing here is finalizing all of our quantities, is reconciliation of our bid items. We do have some field change orders associated with this, but overall, the deductive change order to close this contract out is in the amount of, and that's as the board's getting credit, $87,286.65. That's the third change order. The fourth change order is Resolution 069, 2023, and that is ratification of change order number 1 for contract 2155, which is the transmission main replacement on South Claiborne from Versailles to Upper Line. And what we're doing here is actually, in this change order, is, let me get my, so, correction, this is actually a deductive change order. This is the project you just asked about on Claiborne. What our engineer of record and our staff did with the contract, we did some redesign certain components of this contract in association with the contractor that actually created a deductive change order. So, which was a very, what we call the public contractor partnership and maximizing the efficiency of the contract. This is a deductive change order in the amount of $1,749,758.72. Part of that is when we designed the project, there was a certain part of the project that the engineer record indicated would be open cut. Due to the unforeseen conditions, we ran into the field. One of them was an electric pole that Entergy really couldn't move, and in order to move, it's called just as much as this. So the contractor recommended some design alternatives that he submitted information, we researched, it definitely worked out well. We did some moving with some valves and eliminated a valve that was needed because we reconfigured the line, resulting in a deductive, at this time, a deductive cost on this contract. So we're recommending this approval of this change orders ratification. The fifth is what Gray talked about briefly earlier. That is Resolution R072-2023. That is authorization of change order number 1, contract 8168. That is our repaving contract of open cuts and driveways and sidewalks resulting from our underground utility repairs from our networks administration. This is a $3 million change order we're asking. Part of it is that our contractor ramped up significantly at the request of the Sewage and Water Board in order to dramatically reduce our outstanding backlog in paving cuts. This has worked out very well. We want to have this continuity of operation on this paving just for this one change order. We did, as Gray indicated, shift some money around utilizing the fair share funds, and this was presented at the Infrastructure Advisory Board about a week or so ago with their approval of the $4 million. We're utilizing $3 million for the just change order number 1. And that concludes the section of the change orders.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve change orders R046-2023, R070? Am I in the right spot here?
Over here.
No, I'm not. Motion, excuse me, let me amend that to say a motion to approve contract change orders, Resolution 058-2023, 066-2023, 067-2023, 069-2023, no zero there for some reason, and 072-2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just, Ron, can you go back to G? Just have a question. I've asked it before. The reason for this change order, if I'm correct, had to do with the utility pole, that energy.
Well, that was, I brought that up. We designed it with assumption that there wasn't going to be an issue with the utility pole.
That's my question.
That's
In the
correct.
original scope,
That's correct.
was determined that that was not going to be an issue,
Based
but it
upon- until we,
ended up being an issue?
yeah, once we got in the field, we did some further investigation. It was a little too close for comfort. And in engaging with Entergy, it would be a major redesign of their electrical distribution system, the way the pole was situated. So we got with the contract and found what alternate ways of what we can do. And there are ways, and again, back to trenchless technology, instead of removing about 150, 200 feet of pipe, since only the joints will leak, we were actually what we call an manufactured hydrotype. We actually go inside the pipe and put sort of like a band at the joint to seal the joint. And that's the method of what we are doing in that section of pipe to actually make that pipe waterproof. And it actually turned out much better. We used the same method on a few other projects on a smaller scale, and it actually works out very well. So again, we utilize as much as we can instead of just open cutting everything. And since the pipe is structurally sound, that's really the key. Although it's 100 years old, that pipe is structurally sound. It leaks at the joints, so we're mitigating the joints themselves and keeping the original pipe in place.
What do you expect the life to be going forward?
Hopefully not 50 years.
We won't have to worry about that, will we, Ron? Right. Who knows? Okay, so we have a motion, and it's been properly seconded. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And motion carries. Thank you very much. We have contract amendments, beginning with R046-2023.
Yes, Mr. Chair, there are 3 amendments. The first amendment is contract amendment number 4 to the agreement between Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans and BCG Engineering Consultants to provide assessments, design, construction, program management services for the SELA and drainage system program. This is our ongoing SELA drainage program that's managed by our consultant. This SELA program has extended. Has been extended by 5 years construction period, and the recommendation of General Superintendent's Office to extend the program management for 5 years to the year 2028 with a not to exceed value of $2.5 million per year, and as we always put in this amendment, based upon availability of drainage funds. So that's always the key. in that. So this is a continuation of our successful drainage program that we are working in conjunction with the Corps of Engineers. Second amendment is Resolution R070, 2023, and that is the authorization of amendment number 12 to the agreement between the Sugar and Water Board of New Orleans and Linfield, Hunter, and Juniets Incorporated for the design and engineering services for the water line replacement program. This amendment is in the amount of $640,232.95, which is the bulk of this amendment. Again, is for the extended resident inspection services associated with program TM006. And then also there was some additional engineering design scope that had to be performed as part of this contract for the total of this amendment number 12. And the last amendment is amendment number 7, and that is to the professional services agreement between the Sugar and Water Board of New Orleans and ECM Consultants for the design engineering services with a water line replacement program. This is the ongoing program that we are working in conjunction with Department of Public Works on the JIRR program. And again, these fees for additional resident inspection services for the neighborhood RR053, which is the Gentilly Terrace Group C neighborhood. This amendment is in the value in the amount of $29,880.
That's it for those, right?
Yes.
May we have a motion to approve contract change order resolutions 046-2023, 070-2023, and 073-2023?
I apologize, that's contract amendments.
Yep. Let me restate that.
Move.
Resolution to, a motion to approve contract amendment resolutions 046-2023, 070-2023, 073-2023.
I move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion on this? Is there any public comment?
No public comment, Chair.
All in favor, please, so signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries, and we have one contract final acceptance. Love those. We wish we had more of those.
We get some more funding, we can have plenty more. So this is a final acceptance of a contract 1377, so resolution R068 2023. Final acceptance of contract 1377. It's our Water Hammer Hazard Mitigation Program. This is our phase 2 of the Water Hammer program. This is the rehabilitation of the Claiborne Avenue pumping station and off-site improvements. The value of the contract increased by $2.92 million, or roughly 8.3% of the original contract. Contract turned out very well, and the General Superintendent's Office is requesting final acceptance of contract 1377.
Right, this is related to resolution 067, 2023.
Yes, sir. So we did the change order first, and then this is the final acceptance of contract 1377.
Has changed?
Yeah, so what we've done, in the past, we used to do them both together. There was some discussion, so we separated the change order, approved the change order first, and then do the final acceptance.
And also the board streamlined the internal process. So many of the final acceptances are now being approved at a higher level with the executive director.
Right. Is this the end of Water Hammer? No, right?
No, 1376 is the last contract under the Water Hammer program. And that 1376 is scheduled to be complete spring of next year, 2024.
Do you have what the total cost, do you have an estimate of what it costs?
The Water Hammer
$80 million.
program, top of my head, is approaching right at $100 million.
100, yeah, I was thinking 80.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. All right, so may we have a motion to approve final acceptance, resolution R068 2023 for Claiborne Avenue Pumping Station and offsite improvements.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. All in favor, so signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
That passes. Thank you very much. We have our usual information items. Peruse those at your leisure, please. And are there any public comments?
No public comments, Chair.
No public comments, but we've run an efficient meeting today. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
We're slow.
All right, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
You gotta